Hi class, my name is Allie Bullano and I am an intern at Heart and Hand Center for Youth and Their Families, and this is my case presentation. The overview of my case is surrounded by a young girl named Ellie. She's a student in Heart and Hands after school programming, and she's been pulling her eyelashes and eyebrows out. So I've been working with her one-on-one to address the behavior, but unfortunately Ellie will not agree to talk about the pulling behavior just yet. So I've chosen this case in hopes that you guys will have some feedback or suggestions on how I can get Ellie to open up in order for us to address and work through this problem behavior. Heart and Hand Center is for youth and their families in the 5 Points neighborhood. Our mission is to create a nurturing community where we can empower all young people to realize their potential. We envision a world with no opportunity gap where all children have access to the resources, skills, and information they need to build vibrant futures. Heart and Hand provides nurturing long-term support for 3rd through 12th grade youth in Northwest Denver. We provide daily after-school and summer programming using a whole child approach. And the whole child approach is making sure that we're focusing on academic enrichment, health and wellness, family engagement and support, creative expression, and social emotional skills. We also provide families with resources and referrals for critical needs such as housing or transportation. So a little bit about Ellie. She's a 10-year-old female in the 5th grade. She's African American and Latina descent and lives with her mother. She has quite a few half-siblings and lives also with her stepfather. Her stepfather has 4 children that do not live in their home. They actually live in Kansas. She has no contact with her biological father, and she qualifies for free or reduced lunch. So some key findings about Ellie's situation. So Ellie has actually been seen to pull her eyebrows out during after-school programming. One of the program leaders has seen her pull her eyebrows out specifically in situations where she's speaking in front of her peers. So she's been wearing hats and scarves to cover up her eyebrows, which unfortunately are almost all gone. I noticed her eyelashes were almost gone about a month and a half ago. And Ellie also quit the cheerleading squad due to anxiety of not knowing the routine. The pulling behavior became noticeable shortly after. I was actually working with Ellie on learning the cheers, and she would get really excited about it when we'd have one-on-one time, but then when we got with the rest of the group, she would become avoidant and would walk away from the group, and when it became time for her to perform, she would have mini breakdowns and almost just run out of the room. So Ellie told one of her program leaders that the hair loss, mainly her eyebrows, was due to a reaction from eating bananas. And we've looked into this and realized it was not possible, so unfortunately she was not telling the truth about that. So I actually had a chance to speak with Ellie's mother, and she was very surprised to hear that Ellie was actually pulling the hair out herself. Her mom thought it might have been an allergic reaction. And of course I told her mother, we're not accusing Ellie of anything, but we did see her actually pulling her hair out. So it has been a behavior that has been acknowledged by some of the program leaders. Also, Ellie lately, as in the past month, has not been engaging in eye contact. She'll look away or try to hide when she's been spoken to, which is definitely a red flag. So a little background of Ellie. She does seem to have a fear of public speaking and being in front of a crowd, which obviously led her to quit cheerleading. Ellie is also very close with her grandmother, who has been in and out of the hospital for the past 2 months, which might be contributing to some of these behavior issues in Ellie. We're just not sure. Ellie also has had no contact with her father in many years. Otherwise, her family life is pretty stable, and she calls her stepfather dad, so he's kind of taken that role in her life. Another thing that's interesting about Ellie is she's been infatuated with women's bodies, and this is pretty much in the past month or so. She has not yet hit puberty, but has been commenting on her friends' developing bodies as well as the already developed bodies of programming staff, which is quite uncomfortable at times. Ellie is below grade level in reading and math, and she fortunately has not had any substantial behavior problems in school. So looking into the analysis, it is my belief that Ellie struggles with anxiety, specifically in social situations. I believe these emotions lead to her obsessive, repetitive behavior of hair pulling. She also might be facing a fear of public speaking, which is why she automatically engages in the pulling behavior when is required to speak in front of her peers, as almost like a defense mechanism. And similar to the fear of public speaking, she might have a fear of being in front of a crowd. I feel that Ellie is probably shameful and embarrassed of her behavior, which is why she won't talk to anyone about it. And according to Erickson's stage of development, she's currently in the industry versus inferiority stage for ages 5 through 12 since she's 10. So she's obviously having a greater significance of her peers and building relationships with her teachers and adults and obviously her peers as well. And in this stage, they need a lot of approval. And specifically because they're learning different skills. And when they're successful in the skill development, this leads to feelings of confidence and adequacy. But when they're not successful, this can lead to feelings of inferiority. And I believe Ellie is struggling with inferiority right now. She quit cheerleading because she feels inadequate. She's constantly comparing herself to others and doesn't necessarily see her self-worth. So a little bit more of the analysis. Upon researching her behavior, I came across a diagnosis called trichotillomania, and it's the diagnosis of repetitive hair pulling, known as a body-focused repetitive behavior, and it usually begins in late childhood and early puberty, which is exactly where Ellie is right now. So the criteria includes constant hair pulling resulting in hair loss, attempts to decrease or stop the behavior, significant distress in social situations and other areas of functioning, which we definitely see in Ellie, and it's not due to a medical condition, so it wouldn't be due to an allergic reaction. TTM can occur in a goal-directed manner, which is basically achieving a sensation or desired result, or an automatic manner where she's might not be aware of when the pulling is happening, which is what I see in Ellie. She seems to be doing it in situations where she has to be in front of people, so she's not necessarily aware of it when it's happening. And TTM can occur from a variety of emotions, such as anxiety, depression, even boredom. So I have been working with Ellie one-on-one for the past few weeks and mainly focusing on building our relationship. And we have had a relationship with each other for the past few months. We were working on cheerleading together, and now we're working on this one-on-one task, which has been really great and kind of building trust between the two of us. And we've actually been working on an art therapy technique, making inside-out boxes, which helps to develop someone's self-esteem or sense of self. So we'll use magazine clippings, markers, construction paper, and other art supplies to decorate the outside and the inside of the box. So the outside of the box is supposed to represent how others see you and what you portray on the outside. And the inside of the box represents how you see yourself and what you might keep hidden from other people. And we've had so much fun with this art therapy exercise. She's really opened up to me about her family life and what she likes to do for fun. So my hope is that this exercise will help Ellie to see her self-worth and increase her self-esteem. So during this exercise, I have actually asked Ellie if we could talk about her pulling behavior, and she unfortunately told me no. In response, I told her that she's not alone and that I am there for her when she's ready to talk about it. So once Ellie hopefully agrees to talk with me about the behavior, I will use the steps in the generalist intervention model to get to the process of change. So once she understands the problem and if she agrees to working with me further, I would implement a CBT therapy called habit reversal training. And this has actually been successful in treating TTM. So HBT consists of four main concepts: self-monitoring, which is recognizing when you're doing the behavior and what triggers might be happening to lead up to the behavior. Awareness training, which is understanding when the behavior happens and being aware of it. And stimulus control could be lessening your chances of being in a situation where this behavior would happen. So maybe she asks her teacher not to be called on in class, or maybe she wears gloves to limit herself from being able to pull when she is in those situations. And then competing response interventions is actually just replacement behaviors. So I have come up with a few to offer to her if she agrees to go with this. And they would be making tick marks on a sheet of paper when she is asked to speak in public. Another one would be to make tight fists with her hands or relaxing her hands completely. So I have a few discussion questions that I would love it if I could get some feedback on. So if you'll please just answer two of the questions in the discussion, and I would be really grateful to hear your opinions. I'm looking forward to the discussion this week, and thank you all so much for reading.